debut in May in 2017, and what got you into wrestling?
I mean, you're Puerto Rican. They all love it. It was just always on at my house since I was like a little kid. My brother, all his hamsters were named after wrestlers. My dad had a Stone Cold Steve Austin cutout in his office. It was everywhere. So I mean, it was just being a fan of it. Even like before I was even born, my great grandmother was a huge wrestling fan. She would always go to this venue out here in Philly where like a bunch of the federations would go out, and there's pictures of her with like Bruno, and they would come over after because all the bars and stuff would be closed by the time the shows were over, and my great great grandfather like ran a speakeasy in his basement, and all the wrestlers would come and hang out. So my family's always been wrestling adjacent, but they've never been like wrestlers. So I decided like I'll be the wrestler. I'll be the one that gets in the ring and does it.
That is pretty awesome to
Yeah.
experience that, man. I wish I had that experience.
Yeah.
Uh, my parents said they took me when I was little, but I don't remember. So,
That's all right.
um, so all those wrestlers, who was your favorite wrestler?
So I don't know. I This was before I was born that this would happen. So this is but like as a kid, my favorite wrestler was always The Undertaker.
Gotcha. And what was so fascinating about the Undertaker?
He was just this like I always like kind of like had a morbid curiosity for like the undead and things like that. Even when I was like a sparkly pretty princess, like my room is all pink. But like despite that, like I've always had like a morbid curiosity for things like that. And death is always something my family's been comfortable talking about. So I don't know, I just like kind of like that was the Undertaker. It was all about dead stuff. He's a dead guy.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, I mean, look, Undertaker who was the top dog, 30 years in the business and everything else, and
Yeah.
who wouldn't be a fan of the Undertaker?
Yeah.
Um, so you went in 2017. Who actually brought you in to actually wrestle?
Like who? Like how do you mean? Like who invited
All
me,
right,
or like how did it
right.
work
I
out?
mean,
Like what do you mean?
go to the gym.
Oh,
Like how?
I worked at a haunted house here in Philly, called Eastern State Penitentiary. It was called Terror Behind the Walls, but it's at Eastern State Penitentiary, which is one of the oldest prisons in America. But it's not running anymore, so they do a haunted house fundraiser every year. It's pretty legit, but it was down the street from my house, so I got a job there. And my coworker, we got into a conversation about wrestling because I was already like thinking about going into it, like it was already kind of my plan. And then we talked about it, and he was like, "I used to train at the Monster Factory. You should check it out." So I did, and I did some research. I didn't take his word for the Monster Factory at first. I also was thinking about Chikara as well. Those were the two closest schools in the area. And yeah, I mean, I just thought the Monster Factory kind of fit. I already had a good word from somebody about it. So I showed up and I went there. And turns out he only trained there for like a couple weeks. Like he wasn't actually like
Couple weeks and
I
got you
asked
into it, huh?
yeah, I asked Danny about it, Danny Cage, the owner. I was like, "Do you remember this guy?" And he was like, "Yeah, he was a clown. He was only here for a little while." But it's so because he's not a clown. Like he's a really good guy. I just think he had other interests. So
So you made it. If I'm not mistaken, you made your debut at Ring of Honor on New Japan Wrestling, right? And there you go. Yeah,
there we
awesome.
are. Super card.
You tag team with Sumi Sakai,
Yes, I
and
did.
how was that? I mean, this is a woman that had so much experience in the wrestling business and everything. So how did you guys coexist?
Very well. Sumi and I get on really well. I adore her. She's one of my first friends in the business outside of the people I trained with. And she just took me under her wing and really took care of me. She has a high bar for excellence in the ring. And I was so new and I knew that about her and I was really nervous, but like she was just so encouraging and sweet, and she's uh the biggest one probably one of the biggest reasons I even ended up in Japan early in my career as I did. Um so I mean it was intimidating, but only for a little bit, and then I got really comfortable because she's just such a great person.
That's what's up. And she also
Yeah.
resides in Philadelphia too, right?
She moved.
She moved.
Yeah, she moved to
Oh,
Florida.
Okay. She want to be in the warmer weather. Who wouldn't blame her?
I don't blame her. I don't blame her one bit.
But you guys defeated Jesse Brooks and Tasha Steeles. That was your first tag team match, and Tasha Steeles is not she's a frequent wrestler with you, right? You guys battled a lot throughout your
Not
career.
not too much.
Hmm.
I mean, compared to like I guess how often other people may wrestle, that'd
Uh
be a
huh.
lot. But because I'm just like other than like earlier this past like month, I've been like out of commission. But I have people I've wrestled way more frequently than Tasha. But we've ran into each other a couple times.
Okay. So with bringing honor Chikara from Philadelphia and a bunch of wrestling promos from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and New York. I mean, you've been almost towards the northeast of the country. You
Yeah.
ever tried to explore other wrestling promotions?
Yeah, I've done Florida, at Blueprint Pro. I don't know how much they run anymore. I was supposed to do PCW Ultra in California last weekend, but that got canceled. So I ended up just going out to California and blowing all the money that I had. And when I should have been working and making money, I did the opposite. Um, so yeah, I mean that's definitely I had like Illinois or like later on this year. I've done Minnesota. This next trip I'm going on will be my fifth time in Minnesota. So yeah, there's places coming, and hopefully Texas. Texas is on my list.
I heard Texas is good business over there. It's very, very
Yeah,
popular.
yeah.
Yes.
It reminds me of New Jersey when I was coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Back in December 2021, you wrestled in AEW Dark against Thunder Rosa. How was that experience?
A lot really similar to my experience with Sumi, but not exactly the same because we were opponents. We weren't a tag team. But I mean Thunder is just such an amazing person, especially someone you want to have in your corner, because she advocates so much for, women's wrestlers and stuff. Like she didn't need to after a match, she didn't need to say anything about me or post about me ever again. She didn't need to message me after, it was she's like one of the top people over there. Like she did. I mean, I knew her before, AEW. We shared a couple locker rooms together. But literally like the first time I was booked with AEW, I didn't wrestle and I had walked past the makeup room and I hear her go, Gabby! And I was like, oh, I was like, what does this lady want from me right now? I was nervous. And I walked backwards and she grabs me. She was like, is everyone nice to you today? Did everyone treat you good? If they didn't, let me know. I'll do. And I was like, everyone was so nice. I was like, please. I was like, I'm good. I promise. I was like, it's been a great experience. And then the next time I went, we wrestled and she was just like, I mean, she's just a pleasure to work with. I mean, she hits hard, but that's the nature of the game.
So, what about the platform? I mean, from independent wrestling, now you into AEW. Was it the same? Does it feel the same when in the ring? Do you feel anything different?
No.
Like,
It feels a lot different. It's bigger, obviously. The ring in itself is bigger. It's like
okay.
I'm used to 18 by 18 foot rings. This was a 20 by 20. It might have been bigger. So you have to just on like a technical level, you have to adjust to it. Like
Hmm.
when you get in there, because like they were like rehearsing. Like sorry, they were going through bigger matches through the day. They were making
It's
sure that
all good.
everybody, like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Everyone knows, whatever.
Hmm.
So they were basically like the ring was just full of people before their show started. So there was no time for my 2 minute match to get in there to like get my footing. So I had to go in there and just adjust on the spot to like something I wasn't totally used to. And
Hmm.
then just based on the crowd size, for some weird reason, it's a little less nerve wracking when there's that many people. When it's less people, when you're in a crowd of like 20 or 30, hey, I wrestled for like 5 people at a time. Even training matches at training, like I get way more nervous for those matches than I do for those big ones. Even
And
for
why
Ring
is
of Honor,
that
because
though?
I don't know,
You would
because like
think that once you're in the big stage, you get so nervous, and that's not the case with you.
I was nervous, and it
Hmm.
was like it was such a short match that like I didn't have a lot to remember, and I've had to remember like 30-minute long matches and things like that. So I was nervous. I am just by nature a nervous person. But I am more nervous when it's a smaller crowd because I guess there's like a little bit, the eyes are a little bit closer to you. You
Uh-huh.
know, I know how I am when I'm in a crowd of people watching a show. Sometimes I'm just not even fucking paying attention to what's going on. The pressure is there because there's a lot of people in the back watching every movie take, but like the crowd itself, it's like some people aren't paying attention, and if they are, you can't really see them anyway because the lights are so bright. So it's just a mental thing I think that I get myself into where it's like, uh, you can't see them, they can't see you, even though they absolutely can.
Yeah, I've noticed that on the bigger stage how the lights are being developed and everything else. Um, but I became more of a fan of independent wrestling recently, and that's how I came across your name and your feed during independent wrestling. You know, following on Twitter and everything else. I was like, wait a minute, we got a Boricua in the house that's going to become a star. Yeah, let me take a look at this. And here in Northeast Wrestling, they just had an event in Waterbury, Connecticut, and I saw Mercedes Martinez. She was wrestling, and there's a whole bunch of all-star cast there in NEW, and I was like, wow, it's a different platform, especially like I like to go to WWE events when they
Mm-hmm.
come to Connecticut, and so it's totally different because it's a sellout crowd, and you don't really meet the wrestlers, unless there's a certain time Pacific or anything else,
Yeah,
and they probably be at another location. But being independent, getting to meet, you know, the superstars before they become famous and everything, and see how down to earth they are, you
and
know.
sometimes even after, you know,
Yeah,
sometimes they end up back on the
absolutely.
indies. So
So your fan base and everything, I know you're selling t-shirts, autographs, and stuff. I mean, tell me more. I mean, what's popping for you right now?
um, I I gotta do more of that. I'm not. I need like a marketing team or something. I've just never been good at like being like, buy this off of me or pay me this much. Like, cause I've always been like,
Hmm.
it's fine. Like selling 8x10s and t-shirts is like, it's weird for me to ask people for money. I've always been the consumer, I've never been the one to be consumed. Does that make sense? Anyway, it's something that I'm learning how to be a little bit better at. Like I was
You're trying to market better.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And like I think it's like I know I have like all the tools and stuff. It's just like they're not being so freaking weird about it. Like my first I can say this now because they're not super in commission, but my first Ring of Honor match when we were talking about I didn't get paid for it. And it was my fault because I didn't say anything.
You didn't get paid for it?
No, but it's my fault. Like I left the show and I was like, I didn't sign like any kind of like thing for my pay or anything. And then my friend was like, oh, you need to email this person and make sure that you get paid for it. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll do that. I was too nervous. I never
Oh
did
my God.
it.
You
I
definitely need a manager.
yeah, I need a hard ass because I'm just not that kind of person. I'm like, oh no. But I'm getting a little bit better at it. I'm getting a little bit better.
Well, for what I've seen, I see these wrestlers, they accept cash and all, but they also have that Venmo and Cash
Yeah,
App standing by. I
yeah,
guess that's the new thing nowadays,
yeah.
especially, dealing with COVID and everything, the less exchange and everything else, but it'll benefit. But hey, you know what? At any time you want to advertise, bring it onto my show. We'll publish it for you. How about that?
Thank you. Good to know.
All right.
I'll
Fair
keep that in
enough.
mind. I'll hold you to
Um,
it.
You are an ECWA two-time women's champion. And I got here that you defeated Scarlett Bordeaux. Now, this is the Scarlett that we've known for us WWE fans at NXT with Karen Cross. This is the same Scarlett you wrestled.
Mhm.
And now you won the belt from her, or that was the
Yeah.
tournament, right?
Yeah, I won the belt from her. I
But that
lost
same
it.
day you lost it?
Yeah, bullshit. Um, I did. That was my first ever belt that I ever won in my career. So it was a big deal for me. And then it got like
Mhm.
torn out of my hands like 2 matches later. Um, Yeah, but I still won. No one can take that from me. I beat Scarlett. Like that's huge. I beat her with
That
a
is
power
huge.
bomb. I've never power bombed anybody in my life. That's how I beat her. I was like, I didn't even know I could do that.
Now, is that's not your signature move? What's your
It's the only
signature move?
time I've ever done it.
Do you have a
Oh,
signature move?
yeah, it's a swing neck breaker, and I do the X Factor too.
The sweet neck breaker.
Swinging.
Oh, the swinging neck breaker.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
All
an
right.
X
Oh,
Factor.
all right. So that means if I was being done, then I'll leave out there with a cast around my neck. Okay.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds painful
mean,
already. um, other superstars like Quinn McKay, Megan Bain, those two I've seen wrestle in NEW. You were
yeah.
able to wrestle against them.
Yep.
Um, but do you guys after wrestling, what do you guys do afterwards? Like, do you guys meet up afterwards and talk or whatever, hang
Yeah.
out or
So I wouldn't. I mean, that really depends on how well you know everyone. There's a couple people in wrestling that I know. Like after the show, we're gonna hang out with each other, or we're at
okay?
least gonna like hang out like at the venue and just like shoot the shit or whatever. Um, for people like Megan and Quinn, Quinn I adore. Megan, I don't know her too well, but I loved wrestling her.
Hmm.
Uh, we just checked in on each other after to make sure you good, or like you could take this better, or you took this great. Like we just basically like go over everything we did and like and check in on each other and make sure nothing is broken.
Okay.
So
That's of course that's always important, the
yeah,
safety and everything else. So that's good.
yeah,
Um, ECWA is going to have another tournament this August in 2022. Is that the time where you're going to defend your title?
yeah. I'm gonna defend my title and I'm gonna do the whole tournament. And I think I'm pretty sure. I think this is up to me if I want to do this. Put my title on the line for the
Oh,
match. So if I have the belt for like the first round, and if I lose in the first round, which I'm not going to, but if I lose in the first round, they'll take the belt from me. And that's how I got the belt in the first place, was because the girl who had it, her name was Jasmine. She lost it in the first round, and then she wanted Scarlett won it from her, and then I beat Scarlett in the second round, and then Quinn beat me in the third round. So she ended up being the ECWA champion and the Super 8 winner, the women's Super 8 winner. So,
any plans in the near future before this tournament happens? You got
oh
anything lined
yeah,
up?
yeah, yeah. I got a ton of stuff lined up. I have this weekend. I'm off again. I'm just like giving my body some rest for some like nagging injuries I've had. It's nothing serious, but
Mhm.
I think that's really important. I don't have a signed paper with obligations like other performers do. So I am that's going to take advantage of it while I can. Hopefully that changes and I do have that obligation, but at this point I don't. So I can allow myself that time and I'm giving it to myself. So, but before that, I mean, I have a ton of stuff coming up. I have the Monster Factory, the MFPW, the February 12th. Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I have a calendar. It's full of stuff. It's full of stuff coming up.
Anything that's Northeast Wrestling coming up? I mean, they do their events once a month here.
I'll tell you this much. I had a quick talk with the owner of NEW a couple weeks ago. He needed a girl to come in and I wasn't available. But we did talk about bringing me in the future. So we'll see.
I can't wait. I can't wait. You got your number one
Yeah,
fan right here.
I hope. Like, do you know him? Do you know the owner?
Oh, Michael Lombardi. I've seen him. I can't say I know him,
Okay.
but I know the fans there, especially the frequent ones that go there. And that's why it's so special about independent wrestling. I didn't start till last year. Um, so when I got involved and I didn't notice that, there's a local, wrestling promotion going on. Let me check it out. And to see the audience and everything else, always a sold out crowd. I know it's in a
Oh my
small
God. Yeah.
gym, but then when Braun Strowman or right now Adam Scher showed up to Waterbury, they moved it to the high school, and there was a lot of people. It was
Yeah.
sold out. Sergeant Slaughter was there, and to mingle with the legends and mingle with the new upcoming superstars, that speaks volume. you
Yeah.
know.
No,
So,
it's a
and
good
then
time.
and a lot of respect to you and everybody else that's going into the business, because you're sacrificing your body, you're entertaining the crowd and everything else. And like you mentioned before, you know, you guys check each other, making sure you guys are okay. That's being a super athlete, pretty much.
Yeah.
Your future, what's happening? Where is Gabby going? How do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Oh my God, 5 years from now. I don't even know where I see myself 5 minutes from now. So, pass. No, I'm just kidding. I hope I'm signed somewhere. I hope I'm not living in Philadelphia anymore. I'm like over this place. I love it, but I'm like
Mm.
over it. I've lived here my whole life. I hope that I still have the same friends I do now because I love my friends. And I hope I'm just in a financially better place in wrestling and in life, you know? So
Right.
I'm like riding the wave right now. I spent too much of my career just like, oh, I have to do this, I have to get signed, I have to do this, I like there's so much I have to do and it wasn't like fun anymore. And
Mm.
that's a lot. That's another reason I took a break because it's like my brain was also fried too. Just like chasing the golden goose or like, it's where does it end? And I'm like, I'm never gonna like find the thing that's gonna make me happy by like actively just looking for it all the time because that's gonna make you so unhappy. So I've decided this year to just have fun with it. Just ride the wave, let it get my literally, I'm sorry, I'm like going on a tangent now. But like my New Year's resolution was no resolutions. Just let's get weird with it. And then couple weeks later, a picture of my butt goes viral and becomes a meme, and I get like 10K followers across all social medias, and I'm like, all right, I guess it's getting weird. It worked. But
Wow.
before that, nothing was
Mhm.
happening. Nothing crazy big was happening for me, and it's like sometimes you just gotta go with the flow.
You're absolutely right. Um, I feel you. I totally understand you. You know, and the more you harp on it, the more stress you have, and you're gonna go crazy if you go that route. So absolutely, it'll come to you. It's a
Yeah,
natural. Look, you've like I've been mentioning all these superstars that you've wrestled and everything else. Eventually, you'll make it there. You will
we'll
make
see.
it there.
We'll see. I hope so.
You're on everyone's radar. You just don't know it yet, but sooner or
Oh
later,
God,
you
that's
get that call.
I don't need that pressure, man.
Speaking about that, you was at the Performance Center, right? WWE Performance Center.
Yeah, I think that was
Okay,
2018. I think
2018. Okay,
in summer 2018, I want to say is what it was. Yeah, that was cool. Another really intimidating experience, and one more like example of taking
hmm
it too seriously. Not that you shouldn't take it seriously. It's the WWE. It's like the pinnacle, whatever. You should take it seriously, but I took it too seriously that like I had no fun. I was miserable the whole time. I came home like 10 pounds later because I didn't eat the whole weekend.
mm.
I was just like a nervous freaking wreck. I was like anxiety ridden and I couldn't even take a Xanax because they were gonna drug test you. So I had to just fucking eat it. Like it was not a good time. And then looking back on it, if I'd known what I know now, I would have just been a clown the whole time. I would have
Mm.
just been this the whole time, like who I really am, which is just like a menace to society. And I think if I had done that, it would have been a different outcome. But I was just too nervous. I was trying to be too like button up and like that's not fun.
Trying too hard.
Yeah, I was trying way too
Yeah.
hard. Yeah,
Now,
and
when you
then
was
like
there,
people
how many
see
other
that. Oh
superstars?
God. Go
How
ahead.
many people were there competing? Was it a lot?
Yeah, it was a lot of people. This was pre-COVID, so you could just like kind of pack everybody like sardines if you wanted to. Um, I mean, my tryout had Robert Stone, Chelsea Green, 2.0. Who else was there? I think there was another person that got signed too that was at that tryout. No, there wasn't. That's who got signed. But like, I mean, there was like, oh, Warlow was there. Warlow was there. He's not with WWE, but he was at that tryout. He was like he was near me in the line because his last name starts with W. My shoot name starts with a B, so we were close to each
Mhm.
other in line. There's but that's like there was like heavy hitters at the trial, which also didn't help because it was like I'm so nervous. Chelsea Green though, she helped me out so much. She was like
Mhm.
super nice to me the whole time. She could see that I was nervous, and she was like very much, you know, like cheering me on the entire time, which I'm sure gave her points with the coaches and the producers
Right.
that were there because they were looking for people that were just like super positive and like looking out for one another, and she was really looking out for me. And I was too busy to being like a nervous wreck to look out for anybody else. So
AEW Dark, seeing you there. And those of you that haven't seen it, you just got to Google Gabby Ortiz AEW. You got your match with Thunder Rosa. Um,
it's short but sweet.
Fabulous. And the thing I like about AEW is that these superstars don't stay put in that promotion. They travel all the way around. And that's
Yeah,
why I've seen more of AEW here in Northeast Wrestling. And I know they go to different promotions. And I think that's the new way of doing things, the new way of doing business, because you want not only you already made it to the top, help others to reach the top as well. And that's
yeah.
why I got my gut tells me that you are the one that's gonna be up there. You're gonna be that superstar up in AEW. You'll see. You'll see.
Okay,
So
I appreciate that.
um two-time champion. Hopefully you defend it by this summer. Hopefully it'll last even longer. Who knows? But hopefully NEW will sign you real quick. We get to see you up here, get that title and stuff like that. But I wish you the best of luck. I really
Thank
do.
you. Thank you.
Um, I've watched a lot of movies of these superstars trying to make it up to the business, and I know a lot of similarities of them struggling. But once you get there, things started to smooth out. So you got a good head on your shoulders, and I appreciate it.
Haven't heard
Thank
that
you.
one in a long time. People were like, "This girl's crazy." Like,
Oh, ain't nothing wrong about being crazy though. That's
no,
that's
that's
the
so
beauty of
true.
it.
Oh
Just gotta be you.
yeah.
But yeah, definitely check out Gabby Ortiz. You can follow her on Twitter. You have your Instagram up and running.
Yeah, yeah, it's the same as my Twitter. It's just at
Okay,
Gabbity Gabbity.
that's what's up.
Thank you.
So thank you, Gabby, so much for joining the HHW Show podcast. And once again, best of luck. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody watching. Thanks for joining us tonight. This was a lot of fun. I love, conversational podcasts like this. If I could tell you guys anything, if you listen to anything throughout this whole podcast, the one thing I want you to hear and want you to apply is to take good care of yourself. Self-love is so important, and it's more than just like taking a bubble bath and stuff. It's like really reflecting on your life and what you're doing and the choices you make and the people you're surrounding yourself with. So take care of yourselves and take care of others, and all love always. Yay.